Hey there, it's Miriam Jouar with Pocketnow, and this here is the OnePlus X. So at the front here you have a 5-inch AMOLED panel. It's a 1080p display, and it's a very thin phone. The metal edges are actual real metal, machined. They have a nice little groove to them, as you can see here. At the bottom here you've got micro USB. Unfortunately no Type-C here this time around, but you can see the speakers. On the left hand side here is the same kind of rocker we saw, the little slider that lets you select notifications off, urgent, and all. And on the side here, on the top here, you have the headphone jack and secondary mic, as you can see. Now the right hand side obviously is where the SIM slot is, and the power lock key and volume rocker. So the interesting thing about that SIM slot is that it actually can accommodate 2 nano SIMs or 1 nano SIM and an SD card, micro SD of course. So you know, this is a phone with expandable storage. It does have 16 gigabytes of built-in storage though, so you're not completely in trouble if you're not putting an SD card in there. In the back here, as you can see, this is actually the ceramic version of this phone. It's really beautiful. It's zirconia ceramic back, so a little more expensive for this model, 369 euros, but there is obviously the base model. So here, as you can see, is a 13 megapixel autofocus camera with an LED flash and the OnePlus logo. This does not have OIS, but it has phase detection autofocus. It's f/2.2. Underneath here is a roughly 2500 milliamp hour battery, should last you quite a while, and it's powered by a Snapdragon 801, back to the old days. 3 gigs of RAM as well, which is pretty awesome. The front-facing camera up here is an 8 megapixel, and you get the speaker at the top and other sensors. You can clearly see the antenna gaps here as well. So yeah, it's a small phone, feels really great in hand, especially this ceramic version, which is a little hefty, which is nice. And then you can see that in terms of specs, it's pretty much competes with things like the Moto G in some ways, and certainly in price obliterates the Moto G. Still no NFC though, so remember that. So as you can see down here, and it's not really that obvious, but there are keys embedded in the glass, so you can obviously replace that with software keys if you prefer. That's typical OnePlus. But you know, the software is nice and snappy. There's really no complaints here. Everything works just great, and Oxygen OS, of course. Unfortunately, this phone hasn't been set up very much, but you can see the camera app here. Typical OnePlus camera, of course, and let's see, the web browser hasn't been set up, but here's the notification tray. You can see everything snappy. About phone here. Yep, and it's running Lollipop, of course, still 5.1.1, Oxygen OS 2.1. Nothing to complain about, nothing unusual here. So this OnePlus X will be available in the US starting November 19th by invitation, obviously, for $249 US. So there you have it, the OnePlus X here in San Francisco at the launch event, and we'll have more in our review. Stay tuned. Cheers.